of Rabbi Pinto, in Bezrat Hashem in the merit of Rabbi Moshe Pinto, in the merit of Baba Saleh, may HaKadosh Baruch Hu Bezrat Hashem give everyone big baracha v'atzlacha, siyata dishmaya gdola. May HaKadosh Baruch Hu Bezrat Hashem open up the gates of Parasha and the gates of Yeshua and the gates of Refuah. May HaKadosh Baruch Hu Bezrat Hashem send a complete healing to all those who are sick with a complete refuah shelema ברמ"ח איבריהם שישגדם אין רופא להם בזכות הצדיק רבי חיים פיתו יגן בעדם, and בעזרת השם רבותיי we will all hear good news very very soon. Now רבותיי, בעזרת השם, today I would like to speak a little bit about all what's happening in the world and try to give a little bit understanding and meaning behind it. You know, but I see so many people are so lost in the news and so lost about trying to have an estimate or an idea or some sort of prediction on what's going to happen, where we tend to forget that sometimes there is a meaning and there is something to be understood. So today, Rabotai, I would like Bezrat Hashem to speak about that, as well as the connection to the Geulah from the book of the Rabbi Nachman in Breslev. So we're going to Bezrat Hashem bring some Zohar Kadosh, we're going to bring some Rabbi Nachman, some Arizal, to try to piece it together, Bezrat Hashem, and to have something beautiful. This Bezrat Hashem most probably will end up being not a one shiur, because the teaching that we want to teach of Rabbi Nachman is actually a little bit of a long teaching. For all those who are interested in looking at it, it's teaching 57, Nun Zayin. And that teaching is actually a teaching that Rabbi Natan wrote as a side note, that many pieces were missing from the Limud, and we're trying to, Bezrat Hashem, with this shiur, with the help of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to put it together, to piece it together with some pieces that we found in the Zohar Kadosh, some pieces that we found from Arizal, to Bezrat Hashem give a little bit more meaning. So now, Botai, to start, I would like to say that it's unbelievable where we got to in today's day and age. If I was to come up, Botai, 2 or 3 weeks ago and tell anyone that we would get to where we got to today, no one would believe me. We got to a place, we got to a state where it is unbelievable that in today's day, we are in this place. But you know, Abotai, I see so many people, they're full of fear. And they are afraid of what's going to happen tomorrow. They get frozen, they get stuck, because it's scary at the end of the day. You see, Abotai, countries closing down. You see borders being locked, economies falling, food being unavailable, basic medical, simple things that are simply unavailable, and people get scared. But you know, Abotai, that fear that we have, if we sit down and we dwell in it, it's not going to bring us nowhere. Because if we're going to just sit down and be afraid and be scared and not act upon what's happening in the world, we won't move anywhere, nobody else will move anywhere, and we're going to be stuck in the exact same place. So now, Botai, when we see all these things and all these occurrences that are coming down to the world, we need to look at them, because everything that happens is from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but not for no reason. Where when we have things that come down to the world, they are in order to teach us something, there's something to learn from it. There's something to understand from it. And Abotai, if we take and we look at what's happening in the world on the smallest detail, you'll see, Abotai, that there's so much of simple messages that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is trying to teach us, and He's trying to enforce us to come to that place. But being full of fear and not taking to action what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is trying to essentially wake us up, we get stuck in the same position. So Abotai, I would like to speak a little bit about that concept and what is there to learn, and how can we take, Be'ezrat Hashem, all the messages that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is sending us and bring them into action. So now, Abotai, it says in Zohar Kadosh, the HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when He sees Bnei Israel at a time of potential, at a time where there is a possibility where He can bring a redemption to us, what does He essentially do? He comes to Bnei Israel and He tries to wake them up with brachot, with gifts, with good things that come upon a person. That you see, Abotai, until 2 months ago, Baruch Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu blessed Bnei Israel, HaKadosh Baruch Hu blessed Eretz Israel. The world was flourishing. And that is essentially, Abotai, the first step that HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes in order to wake us up. He gives us brachot. He lets us taste what it is to be in unity. He lets us taste what it is to be in a happy place. And in hope that maybe that good and that bracha will wake us up and we will take action to come close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, or to fix something, or to be the better version of ourselves. But unfortunately, Rabotai, like I always say, sometimes Rabotai, we sit down on Chagim, we sit down on weddings, we go to smachot, we go to these beautiful events, and you sit and you dance and you drink and you celebrate all together, and you have mamash, you feel the Shekhinah, you feel the Kiddusha, you feel the bracha, you feel mamash HaKadosh Baruch Hu's presence, you feel what it is to put aside all Yetzirah and to be only one HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to be one with one another. And we don't bring that into action, unfortunately. It is Teva Adam, Litzarenu Harav, it is the nature of man, that the good that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us, we tend to take it, to absorb, to eat from it, then we put it down and we don't act upon it. So when we come to that situation, the Zohar HaKadosh says, our Father, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, He has no choice. He's trying to wake us up. So He starts with giving us treats and giving us brachot to start to direct us to go to the right path, because we have free will. And He cannot just gift us something with no good deed that is behind it. Free will is what? You have good, you have bad. You choose good, you get good. You choose bad, you get bad. So when the good doesn't work, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is forced to do what? He's forced to pinch us. He's forced to give us little pinches, little hardships in order to direct us to go to the right path, in order to direct us to go to the path of Torah, of mitzvot, and especially at time of potential, because we know about at the end of the day, everything in this world is all windows. A window gets opened, you have an opportunity. You jump through the window, you grab the opportunity. The opportunity, the time passes, you lost your opportunity, the window is closed, you have to wait till the next turn, the next window. So when there is opportunity, HaKadosh Baruch Hu needs to push us. He needs to bring us to the place where we're supposed to be in. So when good doesn't work, He starts to pinch us, with hopes that by pinching us, we will wake up and we will start to change, we will start to bring upon ourselves, take upon ourselves new things in order to go in that path, to be able, to be eligible, to receive and to achieve that potential. So Abotai. So when the good doesn't work, what does HaKadosh Baruch Hu have to do? He needs to direct us. So He sends us, Rabotai, tests. He sends us sometimes things that are hard upon us. And those tests and those hardships are essentially wake-up calls to bring us back in the right path. So in every single occurrence that happens, there is something to be learned. There is something to be understood in order to get to that path. Now what happens, Rabotai, if HaKadosh Baruch Hu pinches us and He gives us a certain test that is supposed to direct us to a certain way, and we don't go down that path? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is forced to do what? He's forced to return and bring us in a different test and a different pinch in order to bring us to that place. So Rabotai, until we don't open our eyes and start to see all what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is trying to wake us up, trying to prepare us, B'ezrat Hashem, for something big, we will not be able to move anywhere. So sitting at home, Rabotai, and keeping what they call now a social distance, be dwelled in your fear and not change and not move and not better ourselves at this time of opportunity to become better, Rabotai, could be just one big waste. And that is why, Rabotai, we need to open our eyes and we need to start seeing all the messages HaKadosh Baruch Hu is sending us. Rabotai, today I was sitting and I was thinking, we got to a place in our world where we lost control. We see, Rabotai, leaders, presidents, kings, men of great wealth, they simply have no more control. But Rabotai, when we think about the fact that us as humans, we lost control, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't know if we'll be able to live our normal lives in a month, in a year. We're completely in the dark. We're lost control. And when you think about this concept that we lost control, I was thinking and I said, that's the point. The point is that we lost control. That before this, Rabotai, if you look just a few weeks ago, a few months ago, everything, Rabotai, was in the control of man. Where if a person was sick, there was a medicine to heal him. That if a person did something bad, there was a way to buy a person out. where we were in control of our lives, we were in control of our world. And that, Rabotai, was the beginning of the problem. Because if you are in full control of what happens in your life, and everything has a solution, and everything there is something to do in order to escape it, then you leave no place for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Where having control is leaving no space for Hashem to exist. Because Emunah comes when a person does not have control, but still chooses to go in that path. Where we see, Abotai, that it's not for no reason that HaKadosh Baruch Hu took control out of our hands. For too long, Abotai, we were in control, and now HaKadosh Baruch Hu is showing us the path of having faith, of having Emunah. That until this point, Abotai, we were completely holding on. We left no space for Hashem to act. We left no space for Hashem to get involved in our life because we're in control. And as long as you are in control, you take away opportunity for Hashem to be in control. We find ourselves, Abotai, in a place where not the big people, not the rich people, not the people of power, the people of connection. Nobody can help anybody at this point. Not the poor, not the rich, nothing. We are all walking with blind eyes, having faith, having emunah. Because when we come to a place where a person has no more solutions, like we are today, Abotai. You know, Abotai, it's very rare in today's day and age. There is things that have no solution. To almost every disease, there's a cure. To almost every problem, there's an answer. To almost every question, there is an answer. And here we find ourselves, Abotai, in a situation where we know nothing. And the only source of direction we can turn to have some sort of hope is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And I think, Abotai, that is something that we need to wake up. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Abotai, is sending us messages. We just need to have our eyes open to be able to see it. You know, Abotai, if we look until a month ago, you see that people lost akara. We lost akara. We lost appreciation, recognition, appreciation for all the good that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us. HaKadosh Baruch Hu blessed us, Abotai, with health, with parasha, with everything. But even though HaKadosh Baruch Hu blesses us with everything, we tend, Abotai, to take the good, to not even say thank you. How many times, Abotai, you really receive something small, you sit on your dinner table and you have, Baruch Hashem, all the basic necessities in your home, and you look to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and you say thank you. Very rarely. Abotai, as a people, we lost our gratefulness in HaKadosh Baruch Hu's hands. Where we simply started to take everything, Abotai, as muvan me'elav, as everything as obvious, as everything as it's normal. Abotai, how can a person live in this world, enjoy from all the blessings that HaKadosh Baruch Hu give him, not say thank you, and not expect HaKadosh Baruch Hu to come and to wake us up? You know, Abotai, if you look today, and today's generation, today's time at least, the simplest and most basic things that us people are so used to, the simplest things that on a day-to-day basis we have it without even thinking twice, those things end up being what? Those things end up being the hardest things that we have to be able to achieve. Where we see, Abotai, that people are waiting in line for hours upon hours to buy what? To buy bottles of water. Where it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter what you have, the simple basics of meaning of life became the hardest things to achieve. And we still have fear, we still don't realize that it's HaKadosh Baruch Hu trying to wake us up, that it's HaKadosh Baruch Hu trying to give us a message to come and start appreciating what we have. You know, Abotai, what's the cheapest thing that we all have for free? What's the most abundant thing that we all take completely for granted? No. What? Air. Air, you come to the world, it's free, there's an endless amount of it, you don't have to pay anyone to breathe air. But you see, Abotai, in the situation that we are, one of the things that the governments are most afraid of, most scared of, is having a place, having a state where people will not be able to breathe air, and where there is not enough ventilators to supply that air. Abotai, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is trying to wake us up. He's trying to direct us. We need to keep our eyes open. We need to be able to see HaKadosh Baruch Hu's hand in every single detail. And if we were able to recognize HaKadosh Baruch Hu's push to try to bring us to a certain direction, we will be able, Abotai, to stop those pinches from that place, and we'll be able to move forward. But in order to do so, Rabotai, we need to take upon ourselves change. If we don't take upon ourselves change, Rabotai, we could have this opportunity, Be'ezrat Hashem, of Geula in our hands, but we could lose it. You know, Rabotai, a lot of Rabbanim are speaking about the concept of the Geula. It's happening this Pesach, it's happening this Pesach. Yes, it very well could be. Because clearly everything is lining up. HaKadosh Baruch Hu put everything in place that really this upcoming Pesach could be the Geula in 2 weeks. Whether it's from the Nevuot, from all the prophecies that are in the Nevi'im, the prophecies that are in Torah, the prophecy that the biggest Gdolei Ador has been having for the past 100 years, that it's all lining up with the Geula could be Be'ezrat Hashem in 2 weeks. But like what we said about time, it could be an opportunity. If we grab the opportunity, Baruch Hashem, we're holding it. But if we lose the opportunity, we could continue Abotai another 4, 5, 6 years waiting for Geula and nothing could come. Abotai, we need to take upon ourselves change. HaKadosh Baruch Hu at this point is forcing it on us. If it's a person that does not have Emunah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving him no choice but to believe in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because like we said, food, we don't know when the next time food will be available. Health, there is no cure for it. Simple amenities that we're used to, very hard to get our hands on. Abotai, wake up. Let's Be'ezrat Hashem take upon ourselves change in order to increase the chance of bringing the Geula. You know, Abotai, this is just something that I thought. Something incredible. This is just to show everyone really how things are mamash aligned. Someone asked me this week, they said, is it for no reason that the country that's being most impacted by this epidemic is Italy? Why specifically them? Why right now their death, if I'm not mistaken, is the highest country, the highest place people are dying the most there? Why specifically them? Is there something to learn from it? So I answered this person, something incredible. I said, yes, there's not just a little bit to learn from the fact that Italy is being most affected. There's everything to learn from the fact that Italy is being most affected. It's in the Gemara, Rabotai, Kol zman sheRom bnuya, Yerushalayim cherva, v'kol zman Yerushalayim bnuya, Rom cherva. What does that mean? Anytime Yerushalayim is built, Rome gets destroyed. And anytime Rome is built, Yerushalayim gets destroyed. That the city of Rome and Yerushalayim cannot exist side by side. Whenever Yerushalayim is going to stand as an independent city, Rome must be destroyed. Whenever Rome stands as an independent city, Yerushalayim must be destroyed. Why is that? So we know what the Zohar Kadosh teaches us about Shlomo Melech, where it said that when Shlomo Melech built Bet HaMikdash, the first Bet HaMikdash, he opened it on Yom Kippur, and on the day of Yom Kippurim, he did a big sin. And as a result of that big sin, the Zohar Kadosh says that the angel Gabriel was so upset in the eyes of Shlomo, where he sinned on the day of Yom Kippur, on the opening of Bet HaMikdash, of the first Bet HaMikdash. The Zohar Kadosh said that the angel Gabriel went to the Okeanos, went to the sea, and he put his sword in the stomach, in the heart of the ocean. The Zohar Kadosh said from that point where he stabbed his sword into the ground, the city rised, and that was Rome. Where somebody said that Rome was built in one day. It's not wrong, because the angel Gabriel, he put his sword, and from that place, the land stood up, and that is the city that brought Yerushalayim to destruction. And we see about it today. Rome, also known as Italy, is suffering the most from this pandemic that is, everything about it is just lining up too much for it to not be a big potential of the Geula in the upcoming Pesach that's coming upon us. So Abotai, we need to wake up. We need to take upon ourselves change. If we take upon ourselves change and we wake up and we take a new direction, we will be able, Abotai, to grab this opportunity of bringing the Geula this Pesach, Abotai. Zohar Kadosh says, Bnei Yisrael nigelu b'Nisan, Bnei Yisrael were taken out of Egypt, out of the slavery, and brought into the Geula, into the hands of HaKadosh Baruch Hu on Nisan, on the month of Pesach. Bnei Yisrael igalu, the Geula, the last redemption, will come when? On the day of Pesach. And Be'ezrat Hashem, Rabotai, in the upcoming few weeks, we're going to do our best to do Be'ezrat Hashem shiur every single day, and we're going to speak about all the different concepts of the Geula, when it's supposed to come, how it's supposed to come, what happens to us here in out of Eretz Israel. Tchat HaMetim, because Tchat HaMetim is a big part of it, and all those subjects of Be'ezrat Hashem that that surround the concept of the Geulah in order, Be'ezat Hashem, to be ready for Be'ezat Hashem Mashiach Tzidkenu. But Rabotai, a very important thing that needs to be put in place is change to put today. You know, Rabotai, there's a Gemara that says that one time a few tzaddikim asked Eliyahu Navi, when is Mashiach ben David coming? So the Gemara says that Eliyahu Navi, he told those Tanaim, those Rabbanim, Mashiach ben David is coming tomorrow. So when the Rabbanim heard this, they got excited. They said, what, Mashiach is coming tomorrow? He said, yes, Mashiach is coming tomorrow, but with one condition. What's the condition? You do Teshuvah today. If you do Teshuvah today, the potential of Mashiach coming tomorrow is 100%. But we all need to get up and we all need to make change, Rabotai. If we open our eyes, we see all what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is showing us, all the signs, all the messages that are clear as day. If we're able to see them, we're able to take a different direction and a different path, we will, Be'ezat Hashem, Rabotai, reach heights, and we will all celebrate Be'ezat Hashem on our Pesach table with the blowing of the shofar and the coming of the complete Geulah. Amen Ken Yatzu. Now, Rabotai, before we start the Likutei Moran, I would like also to speak a little bit about what's happening as a general concept. So we gave a few little ideas on messages, and I want everyone about it to really sit down and to look at all what's happening and all what each person is being impacted in a different way, and try to see where HaKadosh Baruch Hu is trying to wake him up in a certain place. And we all need to do so on a personal level, as well as level of Klal Yisrael, in order to make change, like we mentioned. But what Rabotai is the main picture? What is actually the main goal of all what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is doing now in the world? And what is it achieving? That the world is closed, that everybody is in stress, that everybody is full of fear, that different nations are starting to look to Bnei Israel for hope. People are starting to look to HaKadosh Baruch Hu to hope. What is the result? What is the goal of all this? So, Rabotai, I truly believe that the result, the reasoning of all what's happening in the world, and the main goal and the main incentive of why it's happening is one simple thing. And it's something that we call in the Kabbalah, Chavlei Mashiach. Now, what is Chavlei Mashiach? Chavlei Mashiach is something that Rabbi Moshe Pinto speaks about it a lot in Adir B'Marom. And it's something that many of the Mefashim, they have a little bit of an argument on what it is really, how it's going to be, and what form it's going to be. We're not going to get into those arguments. We're going to speak about it as a general picture. What is Chavlei Mashiach, and why do I personally believe that this is what's happening today in the world? So in order to understand what Chavlei Mashiach is, we have to understand something that we've spoken about several times in the classes, which is something that we call Chibut HaKever. Chibut HaKever is something that Rabbi Pinto in the Baal Ochot Mesapot speaks about in length, but we're not going to speak about it in length because it's not appropriate for today's shiur. Another time, B'ezat Hashem, we're going to speak about every shiur that we mention it. We say we're going to do it next shiur, another time. Hopefully we'll never need to speak about it, and we'll enter B'ezat Hashem to the time of the Geulah where death is not even applicable anymore. In the book of Baal Ochot Mesapot by Rabbi Pinto, he teaches what essentially happens to a person after he leaves this world. So as we know, Rabotai, a person comes down to the world, like what the Tehillim says in the Tzaddik, 70 years, and some people 80 years in this life. And for those 70 or 80 years, he has essentially a piece of spirituality, a diamond of Kedusha, which is actually the Neshamah, which is placed in a physical body and attached to in a physical body in order to give that person life. After 120 years, or like we see in the Tehillim, 70, 80 years, when a person leaves this world, that Neshamah that sat in that vessel, in that body for 70 or 80 years, before going up to Gan Eden, going up to Metifta Derakia, to paradise, there is a cleaning that needs to be made. 70 years, he was stuck in material. He got used to material acts. He got used to habits, which we spoke about in other shurim, where the Zohar Kadosh says that habits that a person has even affect his neshama, where the habits become the habits of that neshama. And we gave many examples and many analogies on how that happens in the Gemara, in the Zohar Kadosh, in the Gemara in Shabbat, in the Gemara in Sanhedrin. We're not going to get into that too much. That neshama before entering, like we said, needs to be cleaned. It needs to be cleaned from all the dirt, from all the habits, from all what was rooted throughout those 70, 80, 120 years that he was in this world. So how does it get cleaned? So Rabbi Pinto says that essentially, when a person passes away, and after they bury him, there are 4 malachim, 4 angels, and we're going to, Rabotai, make it soft, we're going to cut it a little bit, I don't want to get too many details. 4 angels, that they come to the body of the person that passed away, and they start like what we call chibut hakever, which is essentially what? The Zohar Kadosh says that one of those 4 angels goes up to Shamayim, and he brings down that Neshamah of the Niftar. So the person that passed away, whatever his name is, they bring him down, and they put the Neshamah back in his body, where they essentially bring him back to life. Where the person, Hashem Yerachem, is brought back to life under the ground in order to get for that cleaning to be proper. The Zohar Kadosh says that each one of those 4 angels grabbed another limb, grabbed another piece of a person's body, and they start to shake him. And by shaking him, and by even, it says, stretching him a little bit, they cause for the Neshamah to completely part from all the habits and all what he collected throughout his lifetime. And he's able to be completely cleaned. And we also spoke about in the Zohar Kadosh how can one avoid that. We can avoid that from many different ways. Some say it's the Seudah Revi'it, the 4th Seudah that we do on Saturday night. Another way to do it, like we said in the end of Shmona Esrei, you can do it before Elohei Netzor. We take a Perek Tehillim that starts with the letter of your name and end with the letter of your name, and you read it, and it's a segula to remember your name, which as a result, a person does not need to, chas v'shalom, go through that suffering of the cleaning of one's neshama. The Zohar Kadosh says that in that same very way that the neshama needs cleaning before going up, because up it's completely clean, in Shamayim it's white, there's no sins, there's no bad, there's only light. In that same way that every neshama needs to be cleaned, so does the world need to be cleaned before Biat HaMashiach. Because essentially, what is the Geula? This is something about that I think a lot of people have a hard time of understanding. On if Mashiach comes, the Geula comes, do we stay in this world? Do we go up to another world? Do all tzaddikim come down? It's a little bit unclear. But the answer, Abutai, is very simple according to the Zohar Kadosh. As we know, Abutai, what it says in the Zohar Kadosh, that before the sin of Adam Rishon, there was 4 complete worlds. Which those 4 worlds are called Olamot Yabia. What is Olamot Yabia? Atzilut, Beriah, Yitzira, Asiya. 4 worlds that existed in the world. The highest one is Atzilut, and then it goes down level by level. The last world, Asiya, had 2 perspectives. What does that mean, 2 perspectives? It had 2 main aspects that were building it. 2 main aspects that were put together in order to have that world unique from all the others. What were those 2 aspects? Spiritual and physical. When Adam Rishon sinned with Etz Hadat, with the tree of knowledge, as well as when Bnei Israel sinned with the golden calf, they caused all those 4 worlds to break apart. Where the Olam of Asiya, the world of Asiya, was no longer 1 world, but 2 worlds. When you have 4 worlds of spirituality above, then us, the physical world, separate from that and down here. And this actually, Abutai, answers a question that a lot of people ask, where they say, look, Avraham Avinu spoke to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yitzchak spoke to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Moshe Rabbeinu spoke to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Many other tzaddikim, they had miracles, they had more presence of spirituality in this world. And today, in this generation, there's nothing. A person needs to search, a person needs to work hard in order to connect himself to something spiritual in order to give his neshama some life. Why is that? So the answer, Abutai, is simple. At the time of the Geula, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will take the world of Asiya from the spiritual perspective, meaning our other half, and bring down the world of Asiya. Where we're going to continue, Abutai, in this world, life will continue, like we say, Olam ki minhago noheg. The world will continue like nothing ever happened. But the only change, where we will have spiritual presence. Now, every single generation, from the generation of Adam Arishon, the world of spirituality of Asiyah, it was separate. But every generation from Avraham Avinu coming forward, it says in the Zohar Kadosh that the world was coming closer and closer and closer. As a result, having more spiritual presence, because the spiritual perspective, the spiritual other half of the world of Asiyah was almost touching, or maybe even starting to connect down to our world. And that was actually almost throughout, until Bnei Israel receiving the Torah. That when Bnei Israel received the Torah, they did a big mistake, which was the golden calf, and they caused the Olam HaAsiyah to be pushed away. And this is actually what we call Yeridat HaDorot, the descent of the generations, where the generations keeping on going lower and lower and lower. Why? Because we keep on pushing the Olam HaAsiyah from the spiritual perspective further and further and further. And the more we continue in that path, what's going to end up happening? We're going to have zero spiritual presence, and you cannot expect a miracle to happen. Or you cannot expect to have people that have complete prophecy, because you're pushing away spirituality. You have no more spirituality inside the equation. It's finished. It's simple higayon, simple logic, simple logic. Now, when the Geulah will come, like what we said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu needs to bring down an entire world of spirituality, which inside of it there is a part of Gan Eden. Inside of it there is Malachim, Seraphim, Chayot Kodesh, where a person will be able to see angels, where angels will be present, where HaKadosh Baruch Hu will be present amongst us, like what we say in Chazal. HaKadosh Baruch Hu ya'aseh machon letzadikim. That at the time of Biat HaMashiach, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will make a circle, like a circle of tzadikim, that we will all hold hands. And amongst one of the people that are holding hands in that circle around the Torah will be HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So we will have true presence of spirituality and true presence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but in a level that we will all see. That's why when the Geulah comes, nobody needs to prove anything, because we will all be able to see the truth and see HaKadosh Baruch Hu's hand, not just in our physical world, but in the spiritual world, in the spiritual perspective, because it's going to become one. But now it goes back to the point of, in order to bring down an entire world of Ruchaniut, in order to bring down an entire world of spirituality, we need a cleanup down here in this world. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu cannot bring down pure light when this world is still dirty, when there's people that still have bad thoughts, bad habits, Yetzer Hara still has somewhat of a control. So if we want the Geulah, we need to clean up. But now the question is, Rabotai, how can the entire world clean itself in one day? And how can we cause that all men and all people will be cleaned from their Yetzer Hara, be cleaned from their evil inclination, be cleaned from their bad habits, and believe only in HaKadosh Baruch Hu? And that is where, Rabotai, what the Ramchal said, what he brings from the Zohar Kadosh, where Chavlei Mashiach comes to play. If we take the words Chavlei Mashiach and you translate them, it's the ropes of Mashiach. So what is the ropes of Mashiach? Ramchal says and teaches us that, as we know, the evil inclination, Yetzer Hara, to a certain level, lives amongst each and every one of us. To the point where the Zohar Kadosh says that a person's stomach, his liver, his stomach, all his digesting, all his organs that help him digest his food. If a person did not have Yetzer Hara, an evil inclination, the Zohar Kadosh says the food would not even be digested in his digestive system. Where a person's body would spit it out without having that side of the evil inclination trying to feed the physical part. So we all have Yetzer Hara that lives within us. Ramchal says, what is the trick of Yetzer Hara? How does the evil inclination work? He comes to every person in a different way. And he enters a person with whatever opening he could find. And from that opening, he starts to climb, starts to plant his roots further and further within the person. So one person, he'll come to him with kas, with anger. When he comes to a person, he makes him angry, and he strengthens that act of being angry, and it becomes stronger and stronger and stronger until it comes to the point where what? It comes to the point where he ends up doing a terrible mistake, and he ends up sinning, and he ends up breaking shalom bayit, shalom Hashem yirachem. Another person could be tava, lust, desire, where he finds that this person is weak in that place. He's going to attack him there, he's going to pull him down. Another person could be gava, pride, where he puts a seed into a person's pride, and he grows from there. And once he holds pride, he starts to branch out to different attributes and different acts of a person. So he'll go from pride to anger, from anger to desire, from desire to happiness even, or even happiness could be chas v'shalom a way of Yitzhara entering. And like that, he grasps upon a person. Ramchal says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu created Yitzhara in a way where there was a default. There is a nature to Yitzhara which causes him to self-destruct. How? It says Yitzhara, he grabs attribute after attribute, but his most desired attribute is what? Fear. Where Yitzhara, he wishes only if he can control a man's fears. Because if he's able to control a man's fears, that's it. The man is finished. Where you could completely consume even the strongest of men in a second. Where I always like to give this analogy. You know, the elephant is the biggest animal. But what does the elephant fear the most?
The mouse.
The mouse. So the elephant is the biggest animal in the world. Its biggest fear is the smallest animal in the world. In reality, is there any sense to that fear? No. But on the reality, we see that that small fear has a potential to completely consume even the strongest of beings. So that's what Yitzhara wants. Yitzhara wishes only if he can grab a man's fears, and he will control a person forever. So Yitzhara starts to grab one attribute and one act and one thought of a person in order with hopes to reach to a man's fears. And once he grabs a man's fear, he's going to completely tie him up with the habits and tie him up with his hands and have a complete grasp upon a person. But the Ramchal says, the moment Yitzhara reaches to a peak, where there is a peak, he already completely consumed the person. And he sees the fear, and he starts to root his roots and take his chains and try to tie a person to the attribute of fear and touch a person's fear. In that moment, Ramchal says, Yitzhara did a big mistake. That Samael as an angel failed because he did something which is going to hurt him. Why so? So Ramchal says, fear belongs to only one source of life. To who? No. To who? To HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Where we say, En od milevado. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is King of all kings. True fear can only belong to Hashem. So the moment the angel of Samael touches fear, at that moment he touched something that he was not supposed to touch, and he gets burnt. And the Zohar Kadosh says, the moment Yitzhara, the evil inclination, gets burnt and fear enters into a person's equation, in that moment all the chains and all the habits and all the deeds that a man is used to doing wrong and all the bad things and all the grasp that Yitzhara holds a man can all have the potential that they completely get loosed. That in that moment a person can completely free himself from the evil inclination. And that is what Rabotai is Chavlei Mashiach. Where it says Rabotai that at the time of Mashiach, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will shake the world. Where we will cause that everywhere in the world there will be a fear that will cause people to release themselves from their evil inclination. Without fear, Yitzhara is very hard to let go of it. So actually, Rabotai, all the fear until this point that the world been through, it's even somewhat good. Fear pushes a person. Fear motivates a person. Fear gets a person to do something that he's not necessarily used to doing or he didn't think he would necessarily do. And that is a good thing, Rabotai. And in order to bring the Mashiach, HaKadosh Baruch Hu needs to unwrap us and untie us from all the strings and all the ropes that Yitzhara has a hold upon us. How does that happen? With Chavlei Mashiach. And I truly believe, Rabotai, that this act that is happening around the world, with this pandemic, with all the stress, all the fear that people are having, all the panic that people are having, it's a true opportunity to release all those bad things that Yitzhara holds us by. We know, Rabotai, the fact that a person cannot stop doing something wrong, or a person cannot stop doing anything, it means you're a slave. Because what is freedom? Freedom is that a person has complete will to do how he pleases. But the fact that a person finds himself held and constrained to feel the need that he needs to do something, that's very bad. A person, chas v'shalom, that is addicted to his phone, like I know many people like that. Huh? People that are addicted to their phone. They are slaves to the yitzhara of their phone. People that are addicted, chas v'shalom, to eating not kosher things. They are a slave to their yitzhara that gives them that feeling that they have to go and do it. Rabotai, fear is opportunity for us to start something fresh, to start something new, and to be able to clean ourselves from yitzhara and to be ready, B'ezrat Hashem, to grab the opportunity of the Geulah. Because Rabotai, like I mentioned, we have a great opportunity. Everything lines, but we need to grab it. So that is what, Rabotai, I really hope that we're all going to start and take upon ourselves a complete change, take a new direction in order to prepare ourselves, B'ezrat Hashem, for the upcoming Pesach, where in the upcoming Pesach, B'ezrat Hashem, we're all going to celebrate with Mashiach Tzidkenu. Amen. Okay, Rabotai, let's start B'ezrat Hashem the shiur. So, today, B'ezrat Hashem, we're going to speak, like we mentioned, of the teachings of Rabbi Nachman Breslev. And what's amazing, Rabotai, that on Friday night, I was sitting down, I was studying, and I picked up the book of Likutei Moran, and I said, Rabbi Nachman, we have Rabbi Nachman, the connection in the Pinto family, with Rabbi Eden, with Rabbi Nachman. Open me something that's going to be something very applicable for today's day. And that's the Torah that it fell on, which is a beautiful Torah, that mamash, it was a pleasure re-studying it, and B'ezrat Hashem, it's going to be a pleasure to continue to teach it. Amen. This teaching, Rabotai, actually, amazingly, speaks about Biat HaMashiach, the coming of the Geulah, and what comes before the Geulah as preparation to get us ready. So, before we jump into it, because like we said, we're going to piece a few things. We're going to say that in the next few classes we're going to do, we're going to, B'ezrat Hashem, go on the 3 main steps that we all need to take in order to be ready to receive the Mashiach Tzidkenu. Amen. And those 3 steps are built on very complex concepts. We're going to explain them, and we're going to make them simple, we're going to make them sweet, and that we will all be able to drink from this sweet water of Torah. So like we said, Rabotai, this Torah is Nun Zayin 57, and we're going to start. It starts, Rabotai, by opening with a Gemara in Sanhedrin, in page Tzadik Chet, if I'm not mistaken, where the students of Rabbi Yossi ben Kisma asked him a question. And this is a question, I think, Rabotai, that we can all ask. They came to their Rav, Rabbi Yossi ben Kisma, and they asked, Imatai ba Mashiach ben David? When will Mashiach ben David come? When will we receive the Mashiach? When will the redemption come upon Bnei Israel and upon the world? So Rabbi Yossi ben Kisma answered them an answer which is essentially very coded and very closed, and it was most probably very clear to them that they were at high levels. But to us, it doesn't really make sense. It needs some polishing. That's what we're going to do, and we're going to make it simple as 3 steps. Today, we're going to do only 1 step. So, in order to understand this Gemara, Rabbi Nachman Breslev teaches us a concept of the creation of the Malachim. As we know about what the Zohar Kadosh brings, that every single angel is created by what? Was created by Dibur, where Kadosh Baruch Hu speaks, and as a result, an angel is created. Arizal, he says in Etz HaChaim, that the world, our entire world, everything that exists in the world, the plants, the trees, the biology, everything that exists, wasn't even created by a word. It was created by a thought. Where Kadosh Baruch Hu, it says in Arizal like this: Allah beda'ato shel Kadosh Baruch Hu yot elachum mechanun. Kadosh Baruch Hu had a thought of being kind and being able to help others, and that's how the world was created. So we say about how much power every single thing that Kadosh Baruch Hu thinks, says, anything. Every single word that Hashem says creates an angel. But the words of HaKadosh Baruch Hu don't create simple angels. They create actually heads of machanot. So whoever participated in the books that we did about in the shiur, that we did about the 7 gates of tefillot, the 7 gates of prayers, which are essentially the 7 entrances from our world to the spiritual world, we studied there about many strong angels that are essentially generals, if you would like to call them, to hundreds and thousands of other angels, like Bazak, like Openiel, like Zachiel, like Ta'ariel, etc. We're not going to mention too many. I think that's enough. That those angels are essentially what? Heads. But how is that head created? So the Zohar Kodesh teaches us where the word of Hashem created like Chashmal, which is Chayot Esh, and that is essentially the teaching of Chashmal. Sometimes in the Kabbalah we learn Soda Chashmal, the secret of Chashmal. What is the secret of Chashmal? It's the creation of angels. Those words that came out created big angels, and those angels being so big and being so powerful of light, sparks get sent out to them. What are those sparks? Those sparks are essentially smaller angels that act as his machaneh, that act as his tribe, as his helpers, if you would like to call it, or his army, if you would like to call it, whatever way you want to understand it. Where Rabbi Nachman Breslev uses the word ki patish hipotet sela. Where Rabbi Nachman says it's like the pasuk that it says every word of Hashem is like you take a hammer and you hit a stone. That every hit that you do, you break the stone, you create something new, two different stones as a reality. But by doing so, you create many different sparks. All those different sparks are what? They are different angels that act as servants to the main angel, where HaKadosh Baruch Hu created by the word itself and not by the result. So that's what we call in the Kabbalah ishtalshelut. But what is ishtalshelut? You could compare it somewhat. I don't like to compare it so much to that's not really evolution, not at all. But ishtalshelut is essentially HaKadosh Baruch Hu creating one source of life that has the attributes and has the strength to continue on HaKadosh Baruch Hu's will and create smaller, different forms of life. Like HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, and the world created trees, and the world created leaves, and the world grew flowers, and etc. So those angels that HaKadosh Baruch Hu creates are what? They are heads, and those heads create many different angels under it. And that's what we spoke about a lot inside the 7 gates of prayer that we spoke about so much, and we didn't even get to finish it. Bezat Hashem, after when all this balagan ends, we're going to continue with our shurim, and we're going to go back to it to finish that subject. Now, Rabbi Nachman Breslev teaches us something which is a very basic teaching in the Kabbalah right now. He brings up where he says every single angel, as we know, has a different tafkid, has a different different job, different purpose, different purpose, where every angel is in charge on giving life to something specific. So Rabbi Nachman says there is the angel. He is in charge, let's say, of a plant, of a tree, of a leaf, even, because one of the Zohar Kodesh says that even a leaf cannot grow without the angel that is in charge on that leaf telling the leaf to grow. Where every single and any single existing object has an angel which is in charge upon it. Now what happens really? Rabbi Nachman says, the angel receives life from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, or more specifically, receives life from the words of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because like what we said, angels are created by the words of Hashem. And as a result, they take that life that comes from the words of Hashem, and they pass it on to whatever that angel is in charge on, in order to pass on life. Where essentially, the angel has 2 different acts that he's in charge of. 1, taking life from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and 2, being able to pass it on to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Where like we mentioned, Rabotai, every single leaf, every single grass, when you look at the grass floor, you see millions upon millions of little leaves. Every single leaf has an angel which tells it grow, tells it die, tells it stop growing. To that level of control, HaKadosh Baruch Hu controls every single small aspect in our world. It's incredible, simply. So in order for those angels to give life, they need to receive it from the dibur, from the life of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Where there's a teaching, the Zohar Kadosh, where both of these acts, taking life from Hashem and giving life to an object, are actually called yadayim, where they're essentially the act and the result of the hands of the malach. So like what we said, 2 actions being done. 1, taking from Hashem, 2, being able to give. Both these hands need to have a different design in order to somewhat, if you would like to give it an analogy, to translate Hashem's life into an object's existence. And that is where we have the concept of right and left, where the malach, the right hand of the angel, is chesed, kindness, kedusha, spirituality, whereas we know today, when you want to compare a good hand and a bad hand, you have the right hand, which we say it's good, and the left hand, which is less good. Even the halakha of tying a person's shoes, we say to not give strength to the left, because the left represents material, it represents sitra achara, it represents gvura, which can also be used by the Satan, be used by the AT RABBI. Okay. So, right is good, left is bad. The right hand of the angel, the right yad of the angel, is the hand that takes life from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The left hand of the malach, the left hand of the angel, is what is able to give it and to translate to a physical life. So like what we said, right represents complete kedusha. Left represents, could be kedusha because gvura is today. Today is the day of gvura. Monday is gvura. Gvura could be used for kedusha, but also translates and can also connect to a material, to a physical aspect. So 2 hands, 2 acts. Zohar Kadosh says that what comes out from this teaching is something simple. That all what happens in the world and all what exists in the world is all dependent on the words of Torah. Where the words of Torah that HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu's words give life to the angel gives life to every single object. Where Rabbi Nachman says even health and medicine and all healing methods that exist are essentially what? All dependent on the Torah. Why? Because like we said, it's a chain. The Torah is the words of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives life to the angel gives life to the plant, which the plant could be used to create medicine. The angel gives life to even a molecule, a specific gene, a specific material, where there is that chain. Rabbi Nachman says about something that is incredible. It says, and this is all part of the teaching of the coming of the Geulah. If chas v'shalom, a person goes against emunat chachamim, and goes against, Rabbi, listen to this, divrei chachamim, and cancel them, and poretz gderot, meaning a person that comes and goes against the will of our sages, or goes against the will of the tzaddikim, or goes against the will of the rabbanim, that person brings upon himself a disease that has no cure. That if a person goes against the will of the tzaddikim or rabbanim, the disease that will fall upon him is a disease where at that time will have no cure. Why? Very simple. Words of Torah are dependent on who? If we want Torah to exist, what do we need in order for Torah to exist? We need tzaddikim, we need chachamim. So that the words of Torah are dependent upon the tzaddikim. Those words is the life that is given to the angel in order to pass on. So if there's no Torah to give to the angel has nothing to give to a plant, to a molecule, to whatever it is, to create a healing, to create a medicine. Where it turns out, by disrespecting chas v'shalom, the will of the tzaddikim and the will of the rabbanim, and cancelling emunat chachamim and emunat tzaddikim, a person can chas v'shalom cancel and bring upon himself, this is the words of Rabbi Nachman Breslev, a makah shelo ktuva b'Torah. That a person can bring upon himself a punishment, a disease, that is not written in the Torah. Why a punishment that's not written in the Torah? Because it's simple. Rabbanim, tzaddikim, or sages, were given the power, they were given the strength to be able to fill in the gaps of things that were not written in the Torah. Places where the Torah did not fill and did not elaborate, Rabbanim were pulled in to come and to refill that gap and to create rules and to create a guideline and a book of direction in order for us to live. Rabbi Nachman said, if you go against something that was given to tzaddikim but not written in the Torah, then the punishment that will come will be a punishment that nobody will know of its existence, and it will be a punishment that does not even come from the Torah. It comes essentially of lack of Torah, because like we said about it, it's a chain effect. If you cut the Torah and you disrespect the words of Torah which are held by the tzaddikim, you essentially damage the hands of the angel. Where either the angel is no longer able to receive because you damage his right hand, or the angel is no longer able to give because you damage his left hand. And if you want about it, is it clear, Rabbi Tzuriel? It's clear? The concept of the passing down, because I want to make sure everyone understands it, because it's very important for etc. So, by a person going against Divrei Chachamim, we damage the hands of that angel. And that angel is no longer able to bring healing, no longer able to bring a medicine that will cure that disease that the person caused upon himself. And that, Abotai, is something that sounds so familiar to what is happening today. You know, Abotai, today's generation, you see so many people trying to cancel Emunat Chachamim. You see so many people trying to cancel the strength and the belief that people had in the previous generation about tzaddikim. People are trying to cancel it. We know about something that we always have a question that people ask. No. Is it really asur from the Torah, or is it just the Rabbanim that say it's asur? We see so many people, Abotai, that they're simply trying to search for only what's written in the Torah, but in whatever else is written by Rabbanim, no, it's not so important. It's not like the Torah says it's not allowed. It's just a Rav that said that it's not allowed. Abotai, in a generation like that, we see so much fight, so much push against Rabbanim, so much hunting against the Rabbanim and trying to take away that strength, that emunah that the previous generation had, I am not surprised, clearly, what Rabbi Nachman brings, that we find ourselves in a situation that we have a disease that we don't have a cure for it. And that, Abotai, is what we call a makah shelo ktuva b'Torah. Rabbi Nachman says, like the pasuk where it says in Devarim, from that path, you don't move left or right. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave the Chachamim, gave the Tzaddikim a path in order for us to be able to walk on it. And they guide us. If we move to the right, Rabbi Nachman Breslev says, we damage the right hand of the angel. If we move to the left, we damage, chas v'shalom, the left hand of the angel. And either he's not able to give life, or he's not able to give existence to a cure, or he's not able to receive life in order to give. So in both situations, we find ourselves in a place where we have diseases, we have pandemics, and we have no cure, and we have no answer, and we have no solution to our problem. And that is where, we have to get up, and we need to make a change. Now, in the Gemara, in Masechet Zvachim, if I'm not mistaken, it says that tzaddikim nikraim chaim. Tzaddikim are considered to be life. Rabbi Nachman says, if you go against life, which are the tzaddikim, because like we said, tzaddikim are considered to be life. If you go against life, don't expect chas v'shalom to not be sick, and don't expect chas v'shalom to not lose life that you just went against. It's like chas v'shalom, a person jumps off a building, he went against life. Can he complain, I died? Yes, you went against life, you died. It's simple mathematics. When we go, Rabotai, against chas v'shalom, those who are considered life is no longer in the equation, and we find ourselves with these problems. And what's incredible, that Rabbi Nachman actually says that this can also, as a result, bring us to a place where it also answers a question that a lot of people have. But we see about a lot of times there are Rabbanim, big tzaddikim, that you see they're suffering. Pure people that only do good, people that only help others, but still you see they're getting hit after hit and sick. All the tzaddikim, you see they're sick with all these diseases and they're suffering for an entire generation. They're suffering. Why is that? Rabbi Nachman is something incredible, and it's as a result of having this concept of the right hand and the left hand of the malach. Rabbi Nachman says, and this is the concept of isurei ahava, punishments of love. Of isurei ahava, punishments of love can come upon a person which is extra tzaddik. What does that mean, punishments of love? So Rabbi Nachman says that yes, if chas v'shalom you leave the path of the tzaddikim, you can damage one of the hands of the angels. But in that same very way, when a person is a complete tzaddik, what does he cause? He causes that he takes the left hand of the angel, which has a physical transformation, where it can transfer spiritual life into physical life, And the tzaddikim are so pure and at such a high level of kedusha, where they cause even their left hand to become what? No, Rabbi Tzuriel, they cause their left hand to be at such a high level of kedusha that they become what? No, Rabbi Shimshon. They make their left hand at such a high level of kedusha, it becomes what? It becomes like a right hand. Where they don't have a concept of the evil of the gevurah, the evil of the left hand. But as a result, like what we said, when you need the right and the left in order to bring healing. So if you make your left hand into a right hand, what happens then? You can get sick and there's no healing to that person's disease. And this is why Rabbi Nachman brings a beautiful story that's mentioned in Gemara in Masechet Brachot in page A of Rabbi Yochanan. Where it said one time Rabbi Yochanan went to visit one of the Tanaim that was sick. When he arrived to the Tanaim, he saw that when he arrived to the tzaddik that was sick, he saw that he was suffering, he was crying, he was having a big pain after all that struggle that he was going through. So the Gemara says that Rabbi Yochanan looked at this tzaddik, and he said, no, are you enjoying, do you love all the punishments that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving you? So it sounds funny, this Gemara, it doesn't make sense. Rabbi Yochanan sees that he's suffering, and instead of asking, what can I do to help you? He says, do you love the punishment that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you? So the Tana Misken, the Tzaddik Misken, he looked at Rabbi Yochanan, he says, no, I don't love the punishment and the hardship that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is putting upon me. So the Gemara says there that Rabbi Yochanan said, give me your hands. And the Tana gave him his hands, and then the Gemara right away says, Rabbi Yochanan picked him up from the bed and he was completely healthy. So it's essentially a story that doesn't make sense. Rabbi Yochanan first asking if he loves all the sufferings, and he says, give me your hands. He sees his hand and makes him heal. So Rabbi Nachman says something incredible about it, something mamash amazing. Rabbi Yochanan was actually asking what? He wasn't asking, really, do you love the punishment that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you? It was, are these sufferings, are these sicknesses that you are going through, are they sufferings of love? Meaning, are they a result of you being at such a high level of kedusha that you caused the left hand of the angel to become like a right? So the Tana said, no. It's not. It's not punishment of love. It's punishment for something that is else. So Rabbi Yochanan said, give me the hands of the angel. Let me see the hand of the angel. Let me see if I can repair the hand of that angel that is clearly not bringing you healing. And the moment Rabbi Yochanan saw the hands of the angel that is supposed to bring healing to that tzaddik, to that Tana, he was able to fix the hands without anything holding him back. So we see, Rabotai, that actually the cause of our healing and the path for us to reach to being completely excluded from sickness and being completely healed is in the hands of who? It's in the actual hands of those malachim. And by going against Rabotai, Divrei Chazal, going against Divrei Chachamim, and ignoring what they said, and trying to be our own poskei halacha, that is what brings upon ourselves all these epidemics that have no cure. So what can we do to fix it? What is the cure? If the angels can't cure because we damage their hands, how can we fix their hands? How can we fix their hands in order for them to fix us a medicine? So Rabbi Nachman says something simple. He says we have to pick up that emunah hanefela. We have to pick up that faith that was dropped. If a person can get up and pick up that faith that was dropped, he will be able to find himself in a place of returning life into the hands of the angels to bring upon himself a healing. Where Abotai, if we want, Be'ezrat Hashem, all of us, our families, those who are close to us, to be excluded, to not be sick, chas v'shalom, to be in the hands of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, not in the hands of any other source of strength, Hashem Yirachem, we need to start to pick up that emunah of Chachamim that existed in our previous generations. Now, but I always say stories of my grandfather, Rabbi Pinto, Baba Saleh, Rabbi Yaakov Chatzira. Stories of emunah that people, they simply believed in what Chazal said, and they saw miracles which were unbelievable. If we want Rabotai to be excluded from all what's happening in the world, and to be healthy, and to find ourselves in the clear, we need Rabotai to start to bring back that emunah of Chachamim. If we bring back Rabotai that emunah of Chachamim, we will be able, Be'ezrat Hashem, to be healed. You know, Rabotai, that Rabbi Shimshon, and that Rabbi Nachman give another trick. Here we're going to stop soon, Be'ez Hashem. We're going to go to our question and we're going to continue on. It's not even 10% of this Torah of Rabbi Nachman. We're going to stop here. Another way of a person bringing back that emunah, of believing in tzaddikim. Of course, reading stories of tzaddikim is something that is very important. Lighting candles to tzaddikim. But something that Rabbi Nachman says that specifically, directly prepare the hands of those angels in order to bring upon ourselves reparation. Something that is very simple. And tomorrow night, we're going to elaborate on this and we're going to speak about it in length. But just to give everybody something we could start working on today, right now, not just emunah and chachamim, because sometimes when we speak about emunah and chachamim, it's something that, or emunah and tzaddikim, something that's a little bit hard to bring to action immediately. We have to work on it. Emunah is like a muscle. You start little bit by little bit, but then you can bring yourself to a place of having complete faith soon. What can we do today, now? So Rabbi Nachman says something simple. If you want to bring back emunat chachamim, there is another trick. What heals the hands and also brings upon a person emunat chachamim. What is it? So Rabbi Nachman says, and here we're going to just give a quick explanation, and tomorrow we're going to continue. Rabbi Nachman says, a person that takes upon himself a neder. A person that takes upon himself a neder in the English. Promise, a swear, takes upon himself something.
There is a promise.
Promise, so but not just a promise of you take upon yourself and you make a swear that you're going to start doing something.
It's like a contract.
A contract, exactly. Now, why does neder essentially repair the hands and bring a person back to a healing? So go back to the same point. There is Torah that was not written in the Torah. There is rules that were not written black and white, but were given to tzaddikim to write and to guide us. And one of those is the concept of shuvot and nedarim. That a neder, a swear, is in the hands of who to cancel? No? Who can cancel a swear? Rabbanim. If you have a neder or a swear that's something that you want to repair, you can go to a rabbi, you can cancel that neder or that swear. And even more so, on a more deeper level, nedarim go to the root of chokhmah elyona. Where swears going to the root of chokhmah, which is something that maybe we're going to let Hashem elaborate tomorrow. But Abotai, the first step that needs to be taken, Be'ezrat Hashem, in order to repair the emunah of tzaddikim, is we should all, right now, take upon ourselves, Be'ezrat Hashem, something that we're going to start in order to become a better version of ourselves. And if we're able to do so, Abotai, whether if it's taking upon himself, reading more Tehillim, reading Zohar, starting to study Zohar, whether if it's a person that is taking upon himself an extra mitzvah, netilat yadayim, brachot, amen, to answer amen every time there's a bracha, to do a bracha every time a person eats, bracha chona. So many people don't do bracha chona. Anything. If a person takes upon himself something that he's not used to doing, he essentially, according to Rabbi Nachman Breslev, brings upon himself and installs upon himself that emunah in the chachamim and repairs the hands of those angels. So I want Be'ezrat Hashem, everyone, before we go to sleep, Be'ezrat Hashem, to take upon ourselves something. Even something, the smallest thing. It could be from trying to avoid Lashon Hara, to studying an extra 2 minutes a day, to taking upon himself something that we've been pushing a lot. 2 minutes of asking from HaKadosh Baruch Hu all what a person wants, would create an opening of a relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Anything of it. Anything that a person feels a small connection to, something that he's drawn to, something that happened in his life caused them to want to do something. Like you have some people now that they see that something is going wrong, and it caused them somehow in their personal life to be closer to a certain mitzvah, and they call and they say, no, should I do that mitzvah? Do you think it's good? Abotai, we have to have our eyes open. Let's take upon ourselves something in order for Be'ezrat Hashem to repair those hands of those angels and to give us and the people around us a chance of being healed from even the things that have no healing. And that's the words of Rabbi Nachman brought in the name of the Zohar Kadosh. If you put emunah in chachamim, you can bring upon yourself a healing that doesn't exist. And we see that in so many stories, people that are almost dead, and the tzaddik, in the mirror to the tzaddik, a miracle happens. So many stories. My grandfather with a child, who was burnt, a 3-year-old child with hot water, there was no healing. But with the emunah, the tzaddik, HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought the healing. We strengthen our emunah with the tzaddikim, we will bring upon ourselves a healing that doesn't exist. And whoever will do so, Rabotai, will not be affected, will not be touched, even the smallest bit from all this zdah that is going around the world. And before we finish, Rabotai, before we get to the question about Hashem, I want Rabotai to remind everyone, anyone that started the Shurim of Zohar with us, anyone who took place in the reading of the Zohar, and everyone that participated in all the classes of the Zohar we've been doing, should know one thing. They are protected from Chavle Mashiach. That was the first class that we did. The first shiur that we ever did in the Zohar Kadosh was talking about why the Zohar is so important. And as a conclusion, because that's an entire shiur of its own, as a conclusion, one who studies Zohar Kadosh is excluded from Chavle Mashiach, excluded from all those hardships, all those punishments that are going around in order to prepare ourselves for Biat HaMashiach. And for all those who are not involved and did not attend and did not participate, it's the time to start. Pick up a Zohar, read Zohar, you understand, you don't understand, doesn't matter. You pick up a Zohar, you read, your merit is clocking up there in Shamayim. And we know the Zohar Kadosh brings protection, the Zohar Kadosh is light, the Zohar Kadosh takes away all the existence of Sitracha. And the same thing, Abotai, for Pitom HaKetoret. Abotai, we all need to read Pitom HaKetoret twice a day. We gave so many shurim, Abotai, the importance of Pitom HaKetoret, the significance of Pitom HaKetoret. Abotai, we can give now hours of shur just on Pitom HaKetoret. So we're not going to, but we encourage everyone to start reading Pitom HaKetoret twice a day. And it's all about Hashem, take upon us of a good deed, and we will all see about Hashem Mashiach Tzidkenu in the upcoming weeks. Amen. Kinyatzon. So, Abotai, is there any questions, Rabbi Tzuriel?
Yes.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהכל נברא.
Amen.
כן, תקרא. כן, תקרא. מי שתשאל.
Eitan Atias, do you think the Geulah will come and then Al Bnei Yisrael will do Teshuvah? Or do you think the only way the Geulah will come is if Bnei Yisrael does Teshuvah first?
There is a certain amount. There needs to be a proportion. You need a rov, you need a majority. We have an opportunity now, we have an opening. The slot is open, the window is open. We need to grab it. If we don't grab it, we lose our chance. You know what, and this is just to show us that every single mitzvah matters. Sometimes we sit down and we say, my mitzvah won't matter. If I change, it won't matter. I'm just one person. There's how many Jews? We're not going to say a number. Many Jews in the world. What is one number compared to millions? So now the Zohar Kadosh in Parasha Torah, if I'm not mistaken, that teaches about Rosh Hashanah. It says that every single Rosh Hashanah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes a scale. A scale. But I listen to this, to how HaKadosh Baruch Hu is needed every single mitzvah that we do. And on the opposite side, we have to fear every sin that a person does. So it says in the Zohar Kadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has a scale. Mitzvot on one side, sins, good deeds on one side, bad deeds on the other side. Every single Rosh Hashanah, he makes that scale, he puts them all here and he all here. If the scale tilts even a little bit to the good side, the Zohar Kadosh says, Geulah comes that year. If it tilts a little bit to the side that there was even one more sin than mitzvot, what happens? The Zohar Kadosh says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu destroys the world in that year. Destroys the world, creates a new world, next. So what happens every single year? Where the world, there's no destruction, there's no Geulah. Very simple. Zohar Kadosh says there is an exact even amount of mitzvot and the exact even amount of averot. Every single year it falls that a man's good deed, the world's good deeds and the world's bad deeds are exactly even. But that means that one more mitzvah, and you brought the redemption. So we have an opportunity. Many Rabbanim are saying the Geulah is here. Yes, the Geulah is here. We have everything is lining up. Pesach, Geulah comes on Pesach. All the prophecies are coming together. If it's like what we said about Rome, it all makes sense. It all is put in place. HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought everybody at the same level. It's like what we say in the Zohar Kadosh, also Parasha Torah. It says that at the time of Biat HaMashiach, every man will be at the same level. Rich, poor, leader, small, powerful, weak, doesn't matter. We will all be in the same eyes. Today, we're all in the same eyes. We're all looking at the same thing. We all are in the same place. We have a very big opportunity. Now, whether or not we're going to grab it or not, that's in our hands. So could the Geulah come? The Geulah could come if we have a majority of mitzvot. We need a little bit more mitzvot than averot. Just a little bit more. So that's why, Rabbi, we have to push. Any person that didn't do a certain mitzvah come with love, try to show him the beauty of the Torah, try to awaken him to do something good, and maybe that one good deed that you added extra could be the bringing of the Geula.
Okay, and do you think Mashiach is already here but is waiting to be revealed?
Every generation has a Mashiach. Every single generation has a Mashiach that is in the place, and he is chosen to be Mashiach. But we can use it, we don't use it. Chabad said that Rabbi Milubavitch was Mashiach. Maybe it was the biggest tzaddik in the mitzvot that he spread around the world. No Rav in today's generation did it. But every generation needs to have a living Mashiach. We said Rabbi Ben Attar and Abba Shem Tov. Rabbi Ben Attar was Mashiach ben David. Abba Shem Tov was Mashiach ben Yosef. Of that generation, if Bnei Yisrael did Teshuvah, they would have came up. But I want to emphasize that Mashiach is not so important in this concept. We have a lot of people, they think Mashiach. But in the Zohar HaKadosh, it's something that it sounds very hard to say. There's no importance given to Mashiach. Almost no importance. Almost zero importance. The importance is given to the Geula. Because in the Geula, Kadosh Baruch Hu will take death. Samael will be killed. All evil will be taken out of the world. That is where the Zohar, the Kabbalah puts its attention. The Geula. Mashiach, nobody puts attention on Mashiach. So we have to do our best in order to repair the damage that was created by sin, in order to have a complete world. A complete world will have a messenger to come and to announce in it, the world is being repaired, the world is being fixed. That's Mashiach. But the importance that we all do good deeds, we all walk in the good path, we all are our best versions of ourselves, and then B'ezrat Hashem, the Geula will come with Mashiach.
Regina Esther is asking, how does the simple faith in tzaddikim work exactly?
Tzaddikim are what? They're the presence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and they are the living life of the Torah. Without the tzaddikim, you have no more Torah. Torah does not just exist randomly. The Torah exists because there are tzaddikim that are giving it life. Rabbi Nachman says, since we're teaching his teachings, we're going to mention. It says, Torah, shehi b'makom echad, aniyah. Torah, when it's in one place, is poor. Torah, shehi b'kama mekemot, ashira. What does that mean? Torah that is brought from one book is very, very poor, very, very simple. Not a lot to pull out of it. And Rabbi Nachman was referring to Chamisha Chumshei Torah, which is surprising, which is incredible on its own complete different aspect of how Rabbi Nachman could say that. That is already something amazing. So, the Torah on its own, Rabbi Nachman says, is very poor. When you start to bring it from different places, and it starts to get spread out, that's when the Torah becomes rich. Who spreads out the Torah, and who's able to bring the Torah from different places? Who's able to make the Torah so vast like it is? The Chachamim, the Tzaddikim. If you have emunah in those Tzaddikim, it's not having faith in them. It's having faith in following what they put down. If we strengthen their presence, and we strengthen the path that they left us, then we just greaten the power and we give the Torah more richness. And that is why Rabotai, emunah Tzaddikim, something that is so important, can bring upon ourselves a lot of good. So B'ezrat Hashem, Rabotai, in the merit of Rabbi Pinto, in the merit of Baba Saleh, in the merit of Rabbi Moshe Pinto, my grandfather, may HaKadosh Baruch Hu, B'ezrat Hashem, give everyone big bracha v'atzlacha, b'siyata d'shmaya gdola. And B'ezrat Hashem, Rabotai, we will all be healthy. Amen. You, your families, all those who are around.